Yep. This is the third and final segment of the interview. If you missed part one and two, the links would be down in the description. We hope you enjoy the rest of the interview. And we keep like talking about the
Yeah.
stigma. How did you try to like push your way to get through the stigma or like deal with it with the whole you're just sad, you're not nothing's wrong with you, you to get over it.
I started to do a little bit more research. And again, like knowledge is power, right? So when you learn a little bit about like what actually goes on in your brain and like some of the things that happen, um you kind of start clicking, like things start clicking a little bit, right? Because obviously in the beginning I didn't even know what mental health was or mental illnesses and stuff. So when I started doing my own research as to why I was feeling the way I was feeling, I was like, oh my god, something's going on. And then I realized there's all this stigma attached to it. um I again was so fortunate because mom allowed me to receive the help. um she didn't like the idea of me being diagnosed, and so seeing a social worker was a really big thing for both of us, um, because it helped me exactly how I needed help. And it made it so that I wasn't getting any labels, so that helped her kind of ease into the idea of it. Um, but like getting past the stigma was difficult because I received help and just didn't tell anyone. The only person that knew again were you, Garni, and mom. Um, and well, and dad
Oh
obviously.
yeah.
Um, but I didn't tell anyone, and I don't think I really ever pushed through that stigma because I didn't put it on blast up until obviously now. um, but it's so scary at thinking about telling people. Even doing this video is so scary for me because I know my friends and my family are going to watch this, and I know that they're going to realize that's,
They're gonna feel a ways about it,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, we come from a very supportive family, so I think we're fortunate in that sense, but I can't even imagine what would have happened if our family wasn't supportive and didn't understand mental health. Obviously, I pushed it a lot because I was studying it in school, so I talked about it a lot. So I don't think it's going to be very surprising to people anymore because of how much I talk about it, how much I push people to um take care of themselves mentally and everything, and give my advice in terms of like the best coping methods and receiving the help when you need it. um but it's so scary, and I really don't think that I've 100% pushed through that stigma.
Yeah, no, I understand. Now, at what point was it that you realized that I should get help? I know that you said that one of your friends was seeing a social
Hmm.
worker, but what made you get to the point of I need help?
When I realized that I was harming myself, again, we talked about like my eating habits, and I realized that everything there was self-destructive and it
Yeah.
wasn't healthy. And I kind of came to the conclusion that what I was doing was so unhealthy, and thankfully I didn't have to, you know, get to my rock bottom.
Or have like do permanent damage or something to
Yeah,
your body.
until I received help, because unfortunately, in a lot of the times, people don't receive help until they've hit rock bottom. Um, but I think it was just, I learned a little bit. I knew something was off, and I didn't want to feel that way forever. But to be fair, what I will say is that the first time I received help, it was so scary because I was scared that like my mental illness was such a big part of me that receiving help for it meant that I was going to be a different person. And that sounds so weird because,
Yeah, it's like people that were
yeah,
always been sad just they don't want to change
yeah, they
up
don't
because
want
they're
to.
gonna like
Yeah,
I'm gonna
because
change me, but
exactly, and like
that's not
it's no,
it's not
it's
the
not a good
way.
thought. But like in my head, it was kind of like, oh my god, like if I get help, I'm not gonna be
The same
this
person.
person, and I don't know how good that is. Like I don't know if that's gonna be a good person or a bad person. Like at least I know who this person is right now. So for a really long time, it took me a minute to actually take in that I have to go get that help because I had this very weird thought as to like,
What would happen?
yeah, like
Yeah.
I didn't want to change who I was, even though I was, not okay. I wasn't feeling okay, and I couldn't even get out of bed on some days, and I was hurting myself. Like, that was all okay with me because that was the person that I was. And as bad as it sounds, I was very content with the person that I was, and I was afraid of being somebody else. So receiving help was difficult in that sense. Like, I was scared that I was going to lose myself, but I did realize that that was an unhealthy thought.
Yes.
And knowing that there were other people that were receiving help encouraged me to receive the help as well.
Now you say you got help, right? How's this like helped your self esteem with getting help? Because like in high school, I don't know if you noticed it, but I definitely did. You were always like kind of, you looked at yourself and you were like, you felt ways about it, like not good ways, but you felt ways about it. Do you think it helps your self esteem with your recovery and getting help, and like learning more about?
Yeah. I think I still battle with my insecurities. Obviously, like I don't think that's gonna 100% go away right now, but I think that it's helped me in the sense that I found positive ways to cope with it, right?
Yeah.
Like you know that I've recently started like working out more often, and
Yeah, because you take
and like I think that in itself has helped me
Deal
with
with it.
my self-esteem,
Yeah.
because I look at myself and I see myself getting stronger. I see myself becoming more active, and like, you know, walking up the stairs now doesn't leave me out of breath.
Yeah.
So
you
like,
felt better about
yeah,
yourself.
so I do feel better about myself because I truly believe that part of like, you know, going to the gym every
eating
other day
good-
now
eating
is a
healthier.
part of my recovery.
Yeah.
Because that helps me. I'm not gonna say it helps everybody, but it helps me. So that I will say is a part of my recovery. So yeah, 100% I've seen myself in a better light. I do have my bad days where I look at myself and I'm still not happy, but you know, being active, eating better, has 100%
Helps you.
helped me with my self-esteem. Not obviously to the point where I would love to be at right now, but I think I can get there. Like, I'm hopeful.
Yeah, nah, because I'm a really cocky guy. I don't know. Maybe we chill for a bit. Now, even with dealing with self esteem and like dealing with mental health and everything, you must learn something about either a process or learn something about yourself. What
Mhm.
have you like? What has helped improve this, or like what have you learned about you?
I honestly have learned how strong that I am. It sounds weird and it again does sound very cocky, but I've learned that I'm a very strong individual. Like I have my moments, but I think that it takes a very strong person to understand that there's something wrong and there's flaws there that need to be fixed. Um, and I don't think your mental illness is a flaw. Don't get me wrong in that sense, but I think my self destructive habits are flaws. So, what I have learned is that I am somebody that will always put myself in a bad situation on purpose. So, I have had to take a step back and understand that that's me. So, I have to think a little bit harder about the decisions that I make and think twice about them so that I make better decisions and I, you know,
You
yeah,
you improve
but
yourself.
yeah, and I think that makes me a stronger person, and that's something that I've learned about myself.
Yeah. When you while learning about yourself, you've obviously changed from when you were in
Yeah.
high school. Are you surprised with how much you've changed or how far you've come with helping me like deal with the process, or is it still like you're at a point where I'm still figuring things out? Because
Yeah.
I don't think anyone will ever
no,
like fully figure
no,
it out.
100%.
But are you at a point where you're like, I'm starting to figure things out?
I think that I've come a long way, and honestly, I never would have thought in like the 12th grade that I'd be sitting here with you filming about my mental health and filming and telling my story, because I never would have expected for that to have happened, because I never thought that I could ever get to a point where I could be open about who I am and, you know, like
Talk about
talk
it to
about this
people.
because it was such a sensitive topic, especially in high school, that the idea of like coming out and like making a whole channel on it, like I never thought that I'd be able to do something like this. So yeah, 100% I'm so incredibly surprised of the person that I've become. I do think that I still have a long way of going, and I think that when you start recovering, you never stop recovering.
Yeah, so like in this like the same like way of that was, have you ever felt like disappointed with your recovery? So like the best example I can give is like how smokers sometimes they'll relapse or
Mhm.
like they'll start smoking again but then they'll stop again. Have you ever felt like disappointed in that, or like had days where you're just like it's like bad?
Yes. Sometimes, okay, so I do relapse in the sense that I do still go through my self-destructive moments, and that devastates me. And it took me a good year or two to realize that relapsing is a part of recovering.
Yeah.
Um, and that no matter how many times I relapse, what counts is how many times I jumped back into it, right? And that's what gets me through those moments and gets me through the relapsing. But yeah, no, 100% I've found myself becoming very disappointed in myself, because it'll be like, oh, you've been going this many months with, you know,
a bad day, and then one day
or
just
like
hits you.
not even a bad day, but with great coping methods of my bad days, and then one day like I'll just do something self-destructive again, and I'm like, no, that's not good. Or I'll go a whole day without eating again. I'll be like, oh my god, I forgot to eat. And it's disappointing. 100% it's disappointing.
Now, the same way you cut off like toxic people in your life, or you dealt with that, has your environment affected your mental health or like your recovery? And has it been detrimental to your recovery ever? Because like being in a bad spot, like if you're in a car full of angry people, you're gonna start getting angry too.
No, 100%. So we're from Brampton.
Yeah.
And Brampton has a very large South Asian community, and I feel like here we don't talk about mental health as much as other places do. So when I went to university, I went to Aurelia. And in Aurelia, everybody's very like open-minded, and almost everybody there has something that they stand for.
Kind of racist though.
No, not the school.
Maybe not the school, but the town.
You've had your experiences.
Yeah, I've been there before, and I've been yelled at.
No, I think that has very much affected a lot of my recovering process, because I've had friends there that were like, you know, we dealt with our mental illnesses, and this is the stuff that we did, and that encouraged me to receive help even after I left high school, because I wasn't seeing my social worker anymore at that point, because, you know, she was from Brampton and I was living in Aurelia at the time. So I 100% think that if I didn't go to a school in Aurelia, my thought process and my open-mindedness when it comes to like mental health and even other subjects would be very different. So yeah, no, I do think your environment changes things, and I was very lucky that I was surrounded by people that were able to talk about it and encourage me.
In the same way of people being able to talk about it, and they helped you, like they told you what worked for them. What was like your main process of recovery?
So I knew that I wasn't somebody that wanted to be medicated or
take medication.
Yeah, because that just felt weird to me. Not that it's wrong. I think everyone has their process, and medications might work for somebody, and you know, I don't know, maybe down the line that might be something that I want to do later too, but like in the beginning that wasn't something I wanted to do. So my process of recovery meant, you know, seeing my social worker or going to therapy and counseling and venting, as well as finding alternatives to my self-destructive ways. So for me, again, it was to see my social worker and come up with a list of things that I should do instead of the bad habits that I had. And that meant, you know, going to the gym, which I do every other day. And that's one of my processes. It's writing, it's making this channel and sharing my story, sharing other people's stories, and showing everybody and showing the public that there is a way to receive help and get better, and as well as to just take the relationships that I've had and making them stronger. I'm sure you've noticed that since high school, we've obviously become significantly closer, and that's
because in high school you used to just lock yourself in your room and me just go and hung out.
It's one of my things is to make closer connections with people, and that's my process of recovery. And don't get me wrong, that took forever. That took almost 4 years to figure out.
It took 4 years, and you moving out and then coming back.
Yeah, for me to like become closer, not with just you, but with my other friends. It's a process, and it takes a very long time, and I don't even think I'm 100% there. But right now, that's my process of recovering. I'm actually looking into receiving actual help in terms of like counseling and stuff as well. So right now, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Now, is this what you expected yourself to be or feel like? Because, like, even with the recovery process, do you think it's working for you? And, like, are you at a place where you're kind of happy with yourself?
Yeah, no, I think I've made a lot of progress. I think I can keep making progress, just like everyone. Because, personally, I think that once we start recovering, we never actually stop, you know? Like, you never stop making yourself a better person. Or you never stop learning. So, I think that it's important for us to understand that you never just stop, you know, you're never just recovered. As bad as that sounds, like you're always fighting. And I am happy with who I am right now, but I think that I could still do a little bit better.
All right. Well, those are all the questions we had.
Okay. Um so thank you guys all for watching my interview. Again, I just wanted to recap. I want to conduct more of these interviews with other people. I just didn't think that it would be fair if I expected someone else to answer my questions if I wasn't capable of answering my own questions. So thank you, Manveed, for coming on my channel. His social medias will be linked down in the description box below. Remember to subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, and hit that notification button to be notified every time we upload a new video. And remember to check out my blog for more information about these videos. Bye!